I'm gonna kick off. I'm kicking off now. I just started recording it. I'm an idiot. But this is our Last of Us 2 spoiler discussion. And I say spoiler discussion not because we're like, can't wait to talk about spoilers. We just want to talk about the game. But you can't talk about the game without talking about spoilers. Something that I wanted to say is that the embargo was like mad irresponsible. The way that they did that was it was kind of fucked up because they basically they Metal Gear Solid 2 the shit out of everybody, and I'm not sure if that holds up in today's market. I think that's like a dated tactic. But outside of
Mhm.
that, I think
I'd
that,
argue. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
there's a big disparity in the reviews. User reviews are saying it's like a fucking zero. Obviously, that's not true. But then on the other hand, you have critic reviews and they're saying it's a 9.5. I would say, I would say, after thinking about it, I would be on the side of the critics, but I wouldn't say 9.5. I would say 9. I would still say 9. I think that the game is super good, but I think that the story does drag it down, specifically the end of the game. But it's not just about me. Dan, can we get some initial thoughts?
Um, yeah, so I knew that this game was going to be heavily discussed, and I have a lot of things on my plate at the moment, so I didn't get a chance to play through it, but I did watch a full playthrough. So it's not like it was just a cutscenes only version. It was like I got to see the game played from start to finish. So I could at least have a very good amount of information about gameplay and the story at the same time. Obviously, it's not the same as playing it, not all the way, but I feel like it's 80 to 85% because of the type of game Last of Us is. Like, you can watch someone play that game and get an idea of what the gameplay is like, right? Like, it's not like watching someone do something else like a fighting game or something like that, right? So I think that there are parts of the story that's kind of drags. But overall, I'd say the game is. I would also give it about. I'll give it a 9. For a couple of reasons that we can get into later. But I think it was. I think it was a really good game. I don't think it was the best game ever, but I do think it was a good game. I'm curious. I have stayed away from most like negative responses to the game. So I'm curious to hearing like constructive criticisms of the game because I was when I first started to watch the watch through, which was like it was like 12 or 13 hours long. So it was a lot to watch through. But I was expecting there to be a major part where I was like, "Oh, now I see why everyone says this game is terrible," and I never really got there. So I'm curious to see what's gonna be said about
All right, Raleigh, you're closest to the center, to the right side of
it.
Ellie's head. So go
I
ahead and
mean,
shoot.
I'm more of a story based person. Like, yeah, the game looked fine. The game, like actual gameplay, I agree was actually nice. But I'm a person that feel like the story has to be there, and a lot of stuff that happened in the story either was very questionable, or just didn't make any sense, or just was just trash altogether. And it's like, why would you make a game that was great into something like that and end it like that?
Hmm.
But like I said, I agree with like the gameplay wise, it looked nice. Because like I said, I'm one of the people that watched it too. I watched like a full pay through a whole like it was more cutscenes, but I got to see what the game was actually like. Then I saw it was pretty nice. And then I saw stuff that happened in the story. I'm like, okay, cool. Why this happened? Okay, we'll see where it's going. And then just kept going down to questionable decisions made by certain characters. And then at the end it was like, okay, all this supposed to happen. Okay, you had your chance. Like, no, I'm good. That's what it felt like.
Seph, you're last man standing.
Okay. I've had a lot of time to digest. I mean, I'm sure we all have. I've watched the same playthrough that Dan watched, the no commentary one, the one that's unnecessarily long, and then I watched Dom's playthrough, which was justifiably long because he died a lot. But um,
Sure
upon
did.
initial emotions, it was very negative. I had a very, very negative perception of the game. It was raw, and I thought that immediately there were very glaring issues in the narrative. I thought gameplay-wise, everything looked fine. I liked the new stuff that they added. I didn't get to play it myself, but noticing all of the new things that were added, all the new enemies, all the new ways to play the game. Crafting stuff looked fun. Exploration looked fun. Stuff that Dom didn't like, I really liked. So gameplay-wise, I feel like I would enjoy the game a lot more if I had my hands on it. But experiencing Last of Us 2 from a completely narrative standpoint, which that's what the Last of Us series is, it's based in narrative. It's built around its narrative. And it's a narrative that is kind of tropey to begin with. It's that post-apocalyptic, the people are the real enemies, and I suppose the zombies. It's got the father-daughter dynamic that every piece of media kind of does. And the first game does it really well, despite having all those tropes against it. Whereas the second game follows the tropes to a T, but also really tries to shake things up for the sake of art. And I think that art is supposed to invoke a lot of emotion. Art is supposed to be interpreted in many different ways. So if the game's writers wanted to submit that and publish it as an art piece that everybody can experience in many different ways, then they succeeded. A lot of people love the game. A lot of people really dislike the game. I've grown to become into the middle. There are things that I very much dislike about that game. There are things I have forgiven about that game, and then there are things that I really enjoy about that game. So overall, I don't give it anywhere near the high ratings that Dan and Ham are giving it, but it's not a bad game by any means.
I agree with it.
It takes the good narrative that the first game establishes and runs it into the ground, but that doesn't make it a bad game. Like every show and like Walking Dead started off really strong, Game of Thrones starts off really strong. Like they all take different directions and people experience them different ways. If they do another Last of Us game, it could save it. But I think that Last of Us 2 took the writing into a completely different direction, and for me, it didn't resonate well. So that's my. It's an average. It's mediocre. Mm-hmm. It's a mediocre game.
Okay, so I mean, just for the sake of it, I hate to put you on the spot, but you know what the internet is. This is eventually going to go on my YouTube. You got to give a number here.
I'll give it like a solid 7.
7's not bad.
Very flat, solid 7. Gameplay wise,
5
everything
is average.
It's average. It's an average game.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's a $60 game though. I would say like, oh yeah, if you want to experience it fully, probably like a $40 game, maybe even a $50 game.
You don't think it's a $60 game?
I don't think it's a $60 game. I think that if you are a Last of Us fan, it's definitely not a $60 game.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, so I'll say it's not a $60 sequel. If you're playing The Last of Us 2, just like, I heard the game is very controversial, I want to pick it up. Okay, yeah, pick it up. You're going to have a good time because you're not tied to the first game. You're going to have a very unapologetic, or like you're not going to be influenced by the glory of the first game. You're new to all of the characters. Everything is going to be flat. So you will have a wonderful experience regardless.
I think that to say it's not a $60 game is a stretch because number one, the game is much longer than I thought it was going to be.
It's double the length of the first game. Double.
Number two, it is like sound design, visual design. Like it is a very like art wise, the game is incredible. Mm-hmm. Like just from the art direction, from the sound direction, the usage of music. The audio of like whether you're creeping around in a dark basement or you're outside in the open rain, like there were some scenes where like when Ellie was in the boat and the storm was going, where it was like, this sounds like a real fucking storm. Like, what I'm saying? Like it's really, really well done from an artistic standpoint. So I don't agree with saying that I wouldn't pay $60 for that.
I'm gonna say just right now, there's two things I want to point out. One, there's an issue in sound design. As somebody who played it to its entirety, the enemies will make noises here in my left ear, right? But sometimes they would be to my right, and that is a sound design problem.
Are
When
you sure it wasn't your setup?
Yes, 100%. 100%, because like other times it would remain consistent and it would be accurate. But there were often occasions when enemies would be flip-flopped to the direction. So I think that is a sound design issue. On the second hand, on the other point, I'm assuming Seph is saying I would not pay $60 for this game. Not this game is not worth $60 because this game is worth $60. There's
I wouldn't. Yeah, that's a better way to word it. Thank you, Hem. I wouldn't pay $60 for it.
like absolutely I couldn't
Awesome.
I couldn't even like I couldn't even table that. You know, like it
Yeah,
sounds
it's a technical. It definitely achieves so much. On the way that it's built. The way that it's developed. The amount of time that these developers put in to make sure that the game looks beautiful, sounds beautiful, feels great. So much of the movement and actions have weight to it. The actors did a phenomenal job. Yeah, you're right. I wouldn't say that it's not a $60 game. It's not worth the $60, but I personally would not pay $60 for this game because I'd pay $60 for a game that I know is going to be like. I'll buy a full price game if I know it's going to be an experience that I enjoy off the bat.
so you're saying that you wouldn't pay $60 for a 7 out of 10 game upon release.
If it's a game that I know that I'm not going to fully enjoy off rip, then no.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Well, I mean we've kind of gotten away from the point of it. We're talking about the game.
Yeah.
I think
Anyway.
we should probably start from the beginning. And
Okay.
the beginning is, it's really, really abrupt. Obviously, at the beginning, you see Ellie settling in and stuff like that. She's clearly got some relationship issues with Joel, and she's settling in a relationship with some girl named Dina, who's just gotten out of another relationship with somebody a week prior, which I think makes
Yeah.
makes Ellie look like a bad person, and it also makes Dina look really terrible too.
Yeah.
I
I think that's an ethical. I mean, so there are a couple things going on. One, you have to remember that this is you're in the apocalypse, right? So your numbers of your selection numbers have drastically been reduced,
especially if you're a lesbian, because
right. So I mean, I have to factor that into the ruling because you gotta take what you can get.
Yo,
And
but it was
you
week though.
You saw the people in that town. Now, not all of them were hidden. So
That's
like you gotta take what you can get. I don't really pass judgment on that because you're in the apocalypse. It's a free for all as far as I'm concerned.
Well, to me, I think I think the rules all apply in that sense. Ellie grew up with those people. Like Joel's like, oh, I noticed you spend more time with this person and you spend more time with this person. She was like a kid and now she's an adult and she grew up with them. So the rule to me applies that you don't date your friend's ex-girlfriend, even if But like,
it's the apocalypse.
but it's the
bro.
apocalypse.
Like, any moment you can get smoked. Like I mean, come on, like.
But I thought that was like the thing that like immediately turned me off to Dina, and I ended up liking Dina a lot, was the fact that she said she felt as though her relationship was like basically boring and it was like on autopilot. She's like, I want out of it. And I was like,
but she actually changes, because if you look at Dina at the end and you look at her when she says her relationship was boring and then she's with Ellie and you look at Dina at the end, you see that she doesn't want exciting anymore.
It's true.
Yeah, because of everything that happened.
Right, exactly. So that was setting her up. I know you're saying this is your take from the beginning, but I'm just saying there is a character development in that process.
For sure.
Yeah. Dina's arc does complete in a way.
But
It does.
But from there, you get to see a little bit of the town situation and see how they're living out there. But then it jumps to another group of people that you're unfamiliar with.
Yep.
And you're like, who are these people? What are they doing? And it turns out that from Ellie's perspective, these are not the good guys. But you don't really figure that out until you listen to their conversation. Like the way that she implies it.
The moment that revealed it to me is when Tommy and Joel, they were like, "Hey, I'm Tommy," and then Joel was like, "And I'm Joel," and everybody looked at him. And then when Abby was like, and he was like, "Why is everybody looking at me like they know me?" And then it's
Yeah.
like, "Cause they do," and she just blasts him.
Yeah.
That was when I was like, "What
Yo.
is going like that?" It was a
Trevor was like,
curveball to me.
Y'all look
I
like
can't-
y'all heard of us.
Yeah.
like-
And it was just like so I went into Last of Us completely dark. The last thing that I had seen of Last of Us 2 was that very first state of play when they showed Dina and Ellie at the dance.
Yeah,
like
okay.
that was it. I didn't see anything else before that.
Right.
I managed to somehow dodge all of the Joel dies spoilers. Like all of that stuff I managed to dodge out. So I didn't see it coming. And it was one of those things that it was like, that is when I was like, okay, this game is going into a totally different direction than I thought. Because I didn't know what was going to happen about the game. I didn't even know that they were going to Seattle. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
The issue that I had with the whole, because it was basically like the first hour or two of the game.
Yeah.
It was the first
the
2 hours
issue
of the
that-
game, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the first 2 hours. We'll say 2 hours. The issue that I had with it is like if you dodged all those spoilers, then that's a completely raw and angering or very emotional experience for you. But if you didn't, you know who Abby is from the get-go. You know exactly what her intention is because she never mentions who she's looking for. She never says beforehand. She never says like Joel's in there, I'm gonna fucking kill Joel. You know, it's the moment they meet where you realize that Abby has it out and has been hunting Joel essentially, and you don't know, understand, or frankly care why. And it's just so the thing is, it doesn't build. It doesn't build. It builds for Abby, and then you immediately switch and you build for Joel. But you didn't get to build like. Think of it like this, right? When you have a story, there's the rising action, right? You have the rising action up until the climax. The rising action is happening for Abby. You're like, oh, this character I've played enough of. I kind of like this is obviously assuming that you don't know who Abby is. I'm kind of coming around to Abby. I don't know who she is. I kind of like her. I don't know if I don't like her. I don't really know. But the story's getting intense. Hey, it's Joel. Oh shit! This has completely switched from a rising action to Abby to a rising action to Joel, but it's like a leap completely. And that switch is what creates that whole jarring experience because your worry goes from slight worry for Abby to immense concern for Joel, and then fear and anger for Joel because you don't have to build. That's why it feels. That's why it is unexpected.
I think the word abrupt is appropriate there.
It was very abrupt.
Because like it's basically like if you really didn't know in that moment, which Dan did not. He got to see me react to it. He was watching me play through it as I started the game. You walk in that room, Joel's like, I'm kind of suspicious of what's going bam, and you're like, wow.
Well, that's the thing. The problem with that is you don't let Joel. The way that Joel goes out in the beginning is they don't let him, go out. He just gone. He gets snapped. Snapped.
I mean, that's how Last of Us is, though, right? Like that. I mean, even if you look at part 1, people just get like blown back. Like, I mean, that's kind of what the game.
Major characters, no.
Yeah, I would agree.
Major characters, no, but the point of it is in this story, Joel isn't the major character. No, he's no longer the major character.
Yeah, that's what the message that they're trying to say. But obviously, when you open up the game with Joel, you open up the game with Ellie, and you establish that these two major characters are still very much a part of the game, and people understand throughout all of the marketing that this is a Joel and Ellie story, like, obviously people are going to be upset. It's like Dom said, it's Metal Gear Solid 2 all over again. However, it's structured differently in a way that people are upset more about because people still got to play Snake later. People still got to feel like...
Oh, I mean, yeah, but not really.
But you start off really on a really bad foot.
You literally never play as Solid Snake again after that. You play as Old Snake in 4, and that's 2 games later with like an 8-year gap.
So in the Metal Gear Solid lore, this is before 5. I was always more of a Solid Snake fan. I had a lot of friends that were more of Big Boss fans, like of Naked Snake fans. And I felt, trust me, I did not like Raiden in Metal Gear Solid. I loved Metal Gear Solid 2. I hated Raiden.
Yeah,
Like I thought Raiden was, I could not stand Raiden. Then MGS3 comes out, and they're like, we're going back. It's going to be Naked Snake. And I'm like, I really, really wanted more of Solid Snake. Then when we get more of Solid Snake, it's Old Snake. And I'm like, okay, cool. It's still Snake, but he's not in his prime. And I always felt like we missed out on that. But I think that this is different. And the reason that this is different is because Joel's story, first of all, Joel was already past his prime in Last of Us when it really kicked off. Like you saw the first day when he was with Sarah, when he was with his kid, and then like he was already past his prime. So that was done, right? And so this whole part to the beginning of the first of Last of Us Part 2 is more than, it's like this is Joel's ending, but not the end of the story of Ellie and Joel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, like the theme of the story is at that point, it's the story of Ellie just being Joel again. She never lets him go. This is just
in a lot of ways
Joel the sequel. She has not changed in that way. Like a lot of people have talked about this game, and I've listened to a lot of conversations about the game, and one person said this is just Joel's story. It's just a story about it's just not through the vehicle of that human being.
I don't think it's just Joel's story, because if you think about Last of Us 1, it was about Joel becoming human again, right? Like, because at the beginning of Last of Us 1, he even told Ellie, like, look, I've done a lot of really fucked up shit to people.
And he denies some of it.
Yeah, but through the course of Last of Us, because of Ellie, Joel starts to become more of a person. And in that regaining his personhood, he makes the decision of going through and murking the whole hospital to get Ellie back. That was do you think that Joel was a good guy?
No.
The thing is,
do you think of Last of Us 1, that because that's the question that the game, all the way through Part 2, the question of what does it mean to be a good person is asked, right? Especially when we get to the switch to Abby, right? Because when it goes back and it says Seattle Day 1, like it was late at night, and I was like, what do you mean? Like I was really loud. It was like 1 a.m. Like I'm sure I woke somebody up because I was like, what is going on? But the game, and I actually felt at that part, I'm like, man, I don't want to watch through this all over again. Like I don't want to do this. But the longer it went on Abby's side, the more I was like, I knew what they were trying to do when they did the switch.
Oh boy.
But I didn't want to, I wanted to see where they were going with it.
So, okay, you go ahead.
So my issue, like when they get to the whole like Joel part when he get killed, just talking to people that I knew that played the game, felt like that was kind of red flag, or like why is this happening? Because like I said, Joel did a lot of fucked up shit in the past, stuff like that. He's crossed a lot of people and he's wronged a lot of people. Joel as a character would be a lot more cautious than how he was in that moment. From what I was hearing, Joel wouldn't just casually give his name out like that when he did. He went just like, oh, I'm Joel, to these people that he's never met before, surrounded by these people he's never met before in this type of situation. He would have been a lot more cautious. I feel like they made Joel act out of character just for plot.
Well, you could also argue with that is that because Joel developed to that point, right? Joel really has tried to become a better person by not only saving Ellie in the first game, journeying with Ellie, saving her in a very fucked up way, and having the players and the whole audience ask, is Joel a good person? And that question carries over into the next game, and you still ask that even up to his death. Because Dom and I heavily disagreed at the death part. When he finally died, I was like, that's fucked up, and Dom's like, that's justified. And we would argue. We would be like, that.
But like my thing is like, it's not about what it's just like it's the way that Joel reacted. Joel knows people wants to kill him. He knows he's a wanted man, or he knows that he's crossed a lot of people. Why would you go in a situation surrounded in an area of people you never met and do not know who they are specifically, and just casually give your name out there, knowing that your name has weight.
Okay,
I
so
think that.
I
Go ahead, Dom.
I would interject here, and explicitly because this is a point I brought up to Seth, because this is something that we both didn't discuss. We both didn't see this. I saw it in a YouTube comment, and then I brought it to Seth, and then Seth was like, "Actually, yeah." But the counter argument there, somebody said Joel would never do something that stupid, right? But Joel, as The Last of Us 1 progresses, Joel softens up a lot. And by the time that The Last of Us 2 starts, he's well beyond even that point. He's gotten old. He's definitely not as attentive as he's not old Joel anymore, where he was like always watching over his back. And the reason that he's probably not is because he has a town that he has to manage. He brings people in so that they can live there and be safe. That is the environment he wants to create.
Jackson is being in Jackson is what allows Joel to, or what prevents him from being like, I'm always on the run. Because this is 4 years of him, after going through some crazy situations, traveling across the country. 4 years of him saying, okay, things are somewhat more relaxed. I mean, there's the patrols there. I don't think that this Joel that's in part 2 is not the Joel that was in Last of Us 1. And I think that that's important to note, because it's like, yes, Joel from part 1 would never make that mistake, ever. No. Like, we see him time and time again in part 1 not make that mistake, or say, yo, hold on, we don't know who this person is, I'm probably gonna have to kill them. Just like with old boy and the kid, when he had to kill the father or whatever, or that was a different Joel, for part 1. So I really didn't feel like, hey, Joel wouldn't do that. I'm just like, yo, he slipped. Like, I mean, he slipped, but he didn't know, because he was a different person. Like, that's how I personally feel.
That's what makes his death a lot more impactful, and the abruptness of it is what makes it more angering, is the fact that you can recognize that Joel's different. Joel's developed, and Joel's tried to grow and soften up and try to become a better person. Even him telling Tommy about what he did for Ellie is like a massive step. Even though Tommy's his brother, the fact that he told him, and possibly like, and Tommy's obviously like ride or die. He's like, I'm not going to tell anybody, but who knows, And like, you find out later, obviously, that Ellie knew, and that he's trying to rebuild that relationship with Ellie. But that's what makes the death in the beginning so much more angering, is the fact that he didn't get to go out in like an honorable way, in a way that allows that build for us to kind of just like accept the death by any means. At no point in the game do we ever accept like Joel went out okay. At no point in the game can we like justify Joel and be happy with it.
I think that but Joel also killed a lot of people in an unjustified way.
Right, I'm not saying
he killed a lot of people that way. So like, the fact that he died that way is incredibly fucked up. Like, it is, because he was trying to make amends. He was trying to become a better person. But at the same time, I think giving him that end actually creates balance to his story.
The thing is, you can't, okay. I told Dom this, and I tell this people all the time, is that the way that the game is structured is the biggest problem. The way that it's organized, right? Because you don't foreshadow Joe's death by any means in the beginning, like by any means. If you have all those flashbacks kind of come in and talk about how Joel's being better, and talk about how Joel's trying to become, more of a father figure, and Joel's trying to repair his relationship with Ellie, that's how you build to it, and you can still have his abrupt death. But that's how the audience becomes more comfortable with it, because they can foreshadow it themselves.
I think that the robbery,
point of the game is to make you uncomfortable.
Like,
I think the point of this game is to say you're going to be uncomfortable in this game.
Then why is that?
I think that I was willing to accept the fact that he died so abruptly, because as a player, as somebody who just played the last one, like, I don't know, a couple days ago, like before the game came out, you feel really robbed of Joel very quickly. But I think that feeling of robbery and it's like is supposed to incite that anger. But as me and Seth have discussed in the past, the anger for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people, worked too well. They killed Joel in a way that you felt so robbed and it felt so unjustified to you, the fan. Not as the observer, but as the fan of the person, you feel robbed and you go, this character was ripped away from me and it doesn't feel fair. Who's this brolic ass bitch named Requise shooting my favorite character? Like, I got it. Like, I saw that right away. When I saw, like, because I knew it was going to happen. I got spoiled. When I saw that it happened and, she fucking beat his ass with a golf club in front of Ellie, I was like, she could have done worse. Because at that point, I had removed myself from the idea that this is the sequel to the first game. This is a different game. And when I looked at it from the perspective of this being a completely different game, I was far more accepting to the fact that that could happen that way. Because that character, although important, is bad. These are the ramifications of his actions. So it's like, and now we get to see what happens following that. The game.
Yeah, I think that the anger that you felt and that a lot of people felt also helped justify what Ellie's rant. She went on a murder spree, dude. She went to Seattle and started. I'm talking about like murking people.
She killed
straight out
everyone. And the thing is, the game's like, yeah, you can stealth around and shit like that. Yo, straight up, if you get caught by one enemy, and there are 4 enemies on the screen, 6 more enemies will spawn, which I had a real issue with. We should talk about the game too, to some extent. That was a problem to me. But because of that situation, Ellie was forced. You, as the player, are forced. And that is something that is so important, is the word forced, to me, personally. You don't have a choice, because it's not about you, the player. It's about them, the characters, doing things that you would not do. The choice is not for you. The choice is what they would do. And in that situation, in some fucking revenge-filled psycho fury, of course she's going to murk everyone in her way. But you're not left with that choice, which people did not like. Oh, but you had to kill the dog. You literally have to kill one dog. There's a mandatory dog kill. You have to kill one.
That's the thing, is Dom and I talked about how manipulative the game is to really steer you towards Abby, because I understand what they're trying to do. They understand you're going to be angry, but they want you to have that anger removed from Abby and start to find it in the middle between Abby and Ellie. And the game manipulates you in a lot of ways to do that. You're forced to kill so many, like, what seems to be innocent people that you find out later on in the game that they're just normal people. You have to kill them. You have to fucking kill the dog. And you play as Abby.
The wolves are
hang out with all your friends. You get to save the trans person from all the haters and all the bigots. You get to pet the dog and play fetch with the dog. The game is designed. The game is written in a way that is manipulating you to have to steer yourself in that direction. And so, whether they 2 separate journeys or not afterwards, the fact of the matter is, at the end of it, and I bring this point up a lot, at the end of it, Ellie doesn't get what she wants. Ellie loses more than Abby loses in the end.
I think that there's a big...
I think that there's a question mark there, because Abby loses her father in the beginning.
Yeah,
so
but
Abby has already lost more than Ellie has when the game begins.
Revenge.
She does get revenge, but then that revenge doesn't reward her with what she wanted, because it ends up getting Owen killed, it ends up getting Yara killed, it ends up getting a lot of other people killed that she cared about.
Yeah, that's something that me and Seph probably never actually discussed, is that, like, me and Seph did talk about this, because we talked about this game for like a week straight. The thing about it is that Seph says that if Ellie goes and she gets her revenge, she would be even and on the same playing field, basically, as Abby. Because Abby starts the game by getting what she wants. But the thing is, you're in two different phases of the same scenario. Abby gets
Yeah.
revenge for her dad, but everyone fucking dies in the process of that.
That's the price.
And that's what she has to pay. And you go, well, she still gets away, and she still gets to spend time with Lev after that, because she does successfully get to where she needs to be. But at the same time, Ellie is in the same boat. She can still reconcile what she's done, because everyone she cares about isn't really dead. She loses Joel at the beginning, who she decides not to avenge. She decides not to do that, which I, again, thought was weird. And I
don't think it's weird. I don't think it's weird at all.
But she doesn't do that. But her journey to getting there puts her in the position where she's clearly losing things as she goes. And by the end of it, because she refuses to let go of that anger, she loses everyone. But regardless, because of their pursuit of revenge, both characters lose everything. Ellie is just on the other side of it because she didn't finish the job.
Yeah,
Think about this song, though. The main song. If I were to lose you, I would lose myself. That song has different meanings each time it's being played in the game. And at the end, she can't finish the song because she's lost her fingers. She can't form the chords on the guitar because she's lost her fingers.
Hold on, I gotta throw some YouTube fucking comments in there. The lead singer the lead guitarist of this band doesn't have 3 of his fingers, and he's still doing pretty good. I saw that.
Okay, well,
yeah,
I don't care about that. That's you can do whatever you want with that. But the point is, she can't finish the song. The game. I didn't go into looking at this and being like, "Yo, this is gonna be a happy end." Like, I don't go into Last of Us thinking this is gonna be something happy. So I guess I don't feel like when people say the game manipulates you, I have to ask the question, and this is an honest question. It's not like a cynical question to Seph and Riley, but like,
Riley.
What do you think? I have a friend whose brother is Riley, and then there's Riley. So just forgive me on that one. When you say the game manipulated you, what did you want out of the game? Because to me, the game is like, Last of Us is one of those games like, this is the story. You're going to do this fucking story or you're not going to play the game. Like, that's how the part 1 was, right? Like,
so the game, I understand that they're trying to tell a new story, that they're trying to build a new character, and they're trying to establish a new path for the narrative to go beyond Last of Us 2, or even like have some or it wants to have the audience connect with Abby and understand Abby at the very least. But the game, there are other ways to do it. There are better ways to do that narratively. You don't have to, have Ellie do all the bad stuff while Abby does all the good stuff. You don't have to have the two pregnant women in different contexts. Like, there's more ways to incite attachment, drive.
Just as an interjection, I didn't like Mel at all. I didn't like her. I think what happened to her is fucked up.
I didn't care.
I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? We got to build Dina. We got to really connect with and really want that for Dina.
Hold on 1 second.
It obviously was like a weird...
One sec. I'm gonna move my legs, and my headphones are so bad that if I move them, I might lose your sound. So give me 1 second.
I'm gonna lose my point.
Go ahead.
So we got to build Dina. We got to care for Dina. We got to care for Ellie and Dina's relationship. We got to care for the fact that she is going to be a mother. Her pregnancy did cause urgency and drive for us. Whereas Mel, it was a device that was used arbitrarily for that story because we understood it from the beginning, and it caused that artificial drama for these characters that we don't care about or connect about. And the intention is for you to care about them later, but by then, like, obviously, different audience members are going to feel differently about it. The anger is going to affect everybody and drive people differently throughout the narrative. People that were angry enough about Joel's death are not going to care about Abby, but people like Dom, who can kind of justify it and understand it and therefore forgive Abby for it later, they're still very little reason to connect with the characters that surround Abby because you're still so focused on trying to forgive her for before. Now,
I don't think that. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish, and I would like to respond.
So the way that you can cause a natural connection to Abby, like I said this again, if they were to use the elements in the game already, is just have it reorganized where, like, Abby doesn't kill Joel in the beginning, and
Actually, Seph. I'm actually going to have you hold that point because that's a part of discussion that we need to have in a chunk. That is presentation and pacing needs to be discussed because it's weak. But Dan,
the whole connection to Abby, the way that the game really wants you to connect with Abby seems forced, seems manipulative in comparison to Ellie's whole side of the story. And I understand that because Abby's side comes later, it seems like a very direct contrast to Ellie in the positive light. You know,
it's supposed to be though.
But it's very blatant. It's very blatant, and it's very, very like
it's
on the nose. Like, look, Ellie's the bad guy, Abby's the good guy. There's not room for interpretation because it really drives that.
Okay, so from my interpretation, from the way I felt about it is when we switched to Abby, and I was like, oh, cool, this is going to be a quick flashback of how she gets to the theater, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw the upgrade trees, and I'm like, oh, no. And then she found a magazine, and I'm like, oh, man, we're going to be doing this whole thing. I didn't really want to do that, because I'm like, man, I don't really give a fuck about Abby, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know.
You can check my VODs. I actually said, at the moment that we switched to Abby, and I realized that this is going to be a while, I said, I don't want to play as her anymore. I don't want to do this. I want to see what the fuck just happened here.
Yeah, that cliffhanger was fucked up.
That was fierce.
I think the cliffhanger was important. Number one, because Lev is there, and you really wouldn't care about Lev if you don't find out why he's there. And number two, the switch to Abby. Like Dom said, Abby is at a different point from the moment that she kills Joel. Especially the moment where Seattle Day 1 happens, Abby is at a different point in that arc than Ellie. Ellie is where Abby has been for years, for 4 years. Abby is beyond that to a different point, and she is reaping the consequences now of what she did. Ellie does not start to reap those consequences until the theater. And she hadn't even gotten what she wanted. So she's paying ahead of time of what she wanted because of what she's done. So my thing with Abby is I don't think that the game was trying to make you forgive her. This is how, because she still murdered someone. Like, to me, like, forgiveness is not on the, it's not like what we're talking about here. The question is, the consequences of revenge, violence, and what makes you a good person. Can you kill someone and still remain to be a good person? Because Abby killed Joel. She killed
probably hundreds of Seraphites.
Tons of Seraphites. She killed tons of them. Just like she was the whole reason she was like Diesel like that is to become a killer. Like, you don't get jacked like that in the apocalypse unless you're going out there to
because she was. That's what's interesting. You look at her as a character right before she goes to the WLF. She's like, she goes to the WLF so she can fucking kill Joel, so she can be prepared to kill Joel. By the time she gets there, she is not fucking yoked as fuck. But while she's there, she's like, I am preparing for my revenge. The WLF means nothing to her. It means nothing to Owen. To both of those characters. They're like, we don't care about the good of this. We care about what it's going to yield us. And what it gave her was no neck and zero boobs. She has removed her boobs from her body by fucking doing so many goddamn bench presses. She's putting up like fucking 182 before she goes to WLF.
I'm just saying, well, first of all, disclaimer, you don't have to have, you can be whatever you want to be. I'm not going to.
Listen, okay, so I'm not trying to get into the conversation of, boobs versus pecs, but
you just did it.
But she literally works so hard
You rise a point, though. You rise a point where Abby premeditated this revenge. She planned for this revenge 4 years. Over 4 years, she worked towards the one goal of getting Joel killed, of killing Joel herself, brutally and angrily for all of us. And then afterwards, she just gets to kill all these bigots the entire time, right? Abby loses Joel, or Ellie loses Joel in the beginning, and then just kills what we come to learn are just innocent people.
They're not, but the wolves aren't innocent. The wolves are not innocent. All of the wolves that that Ellie killed, are complicit in Joel's murder.
It's true.
They had nothing to do with that. And they kill Seraphites. If you follow the way the story happened, the wolves are the ones that broke the peace.
They broke the
between
treaty.
Seraphites.
They broke
They
the
are the
treaty.
ones that caused the war. The Seraphites weren't murking people until they broke the treaty.
So they're
The
bad.
wolves are not and think about this. All of the wolves that Ellie ran into were like, yo, we're just gonna murder these people. Like, even Ellie and Jesse were saying, they're like, yo, what's up with these people? They like, we could have information, and Ellie's like, they're not like us. They're just trying to kill us off rip. They don't care. They just like, yo, there's a trespasser killer. So like, I don't think the wolves are innocent at all. Especially the people who were there. Like, the people who were there when Joel died, nobody was like, yo, hold on, this is a little bit much. Like, everybody was like, okay, go ahead and murk him.
She even agreed to straight up get on a boat, ride into the fucking sunset, and murder people on their island where they're living. Probably not necessarily in peace. Let's not say in peace. But let's call them the closest thing to civilians you'll get in this place. You know, like, those were people just living their lives. That island was massive. And she's like, yeah, I'll ride the first fucking wave in there and kill as many of them as possible. And what makes it even more interesting is that she has no investment in this, in the WLF as a whole. She has investment in the friends she's made. It's like myself. In the Marine Corps, my friends I cared about. I hated the Marine Corps. I hated it. But the Marine Corps brought me friends. She cares about her friends, and those friends are from the same place. So that's what she's worried about. They go, hey, go ride on a fucking boat, and she doesn't even think about it. She's like, fuck it, I'll do it. I gotta do this so I can continue doing what I was doing in the first place, which is killing Joel. She's bad, but you know, you have the understanding of that if you read the notes in the game, and if you pay attention, and if you read between the lines every once in a while, understand that, yeah, they're showing you a lot of good, but they have no choice. I feel like if you never showed her doing kind of good things, you would just hate her. You would just hate her. You can't walk away from that story. And even in the good that she's attempting to do, she's like, hey, I saved this girl. Here, fix her fucking arm. Hey, I'm gonna beat my fear of heights and shit. But also, I'm gonna fuck your husband. Like, she still does bad things. She's working on it. Ellie, in this game, is not working on it. Until the fucking credits.
Yeah, until the very end, she's not. And the point of it is, it's like you said, Seph, to me, Abby had years to process what happened. She wasn't capable when her father died. She was a young girl, like Ellie was. So she didn't have the ability to be like, yo, we're riding out to wherever these people are immediately. Mm-hmm. The difference is Ellie's revenge was immediate. Her mind was immediately on revenge, and she was able to do it. She was able to, because she was trained to be able to survive, and she was trained to be able to kill by Joel. So one of the threads of the story, and the reason why Ellie's whole story to me is strong, is because it shows you what happens when you have immediate power to respond and react in a way that is revengeful. Mm-hmm. Like that. So I mean, that's, to me, like, I think that if we move to the section where we're talking about presentation, we'll get more like further on in the discussion. But to me, the switch to Abby, at first I didn't care, but I actually enjoyed it once Lev and Yara showed up, because it showed that Abby was at a different stage, and it showed that she was in a really human way, because I really feel like it shows like when people are trying to find or even conceive of the idea of redemption or being, of some sort of not redemption, but I can't think of the word right now. It starts with an A. But atonement.
Oh,
She was trying to achieve some sort of atonement. Both Abby and Ellie had visions of just fucked up shit that happened in their life. One was Joel being killed. The other one for Abby was her father being killed. Both of them also had visions that motivated them to do different things. The only difference is Abby's was right after she was with Owen. She thought about Lev and Yara and was like, damn, like I have a chance here. I need to do something different. Ellie's didn't come until the end, until we see the scene with her and Joel and her saying, I don't know if I can forgive you, but I want to try.
yeah.
That was Ellie's moment. That was Ellie's version of Abby's moment with Lev and Yara, of her saying, I need to try to save you.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that I'm interested to see like what other responses, I'm interested to see. I understand how people are not happy with the ending of the game or the way that the story of the game goes. But I'm wondering, like, that might also be part of the point.
How
And to me,
like,
that's a question mark.
how that even years after the whole thing, Ellie still like goes back and is just like, I should probably get that revenge,
Yeah, that. So okay, all right. This is.
Was it years or was
it was
months?
it was at least months. It was months.
I think it was months.
Was it months?
Yeah, because the baby wasn't that
Yeah.
big.
Baby was big.
It's just a big baby. Like,
Yeah,
I've seen huge babies.
But
Attack
also,
of the giant baby.
Not visibly pregnant in the beginning. She was just throwing up. That's like a few months in.
That's true, but let's call it a year. Let's call it a year.
Let's call it a year.
So, or even a year and a half. If we call it a
Let's
year,
say, yeah. Let's
if
say
we
18 months.
if we call it a year and a half, this is an issue that I had. This was my issue. Fucking
Yeah.
Oh, really? Hey, what's up?
yo, there's a whole dog in there. There's a what do you call it? There's a moment when Tommy straight up just walks in, and he just goes, "Oh, so you said you were gonna avenge my brother, and you didn't do it."
Yeah, Tommy's an asshole for that.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is that?" Because here's the thing: this is why I didn't like it. This is specifically why the last 2 to 3 hours of the game felt awful. I hated the fact that Tommy doesn't die after getting shot in the face. He loses an eye.
How does that person... I thought Tommy was dead
I
multiple
thought it was
times.
dead.
I thought he
Yeah.
was dead. So first off, he lives, and all he gets is a fucked up eye and a gangster lean. He then, very, very out of character, goes, "You didn't avenge my brother. Why didn't you avenge my brother?" Like, that was so weird to me, because he himself says, "I'm done with this. Let's take your girlfriend home. She's pregnant. We're calling it a day." And then
Yeah.
you go, "Well, actually, I'm still upset about it." That's on you now.
Yeah.
And now you've put your vehicle of anger, unjustifiably so at this juncture,
Yeah.
after she let you live. That's why.
Compromise Ellie's peace,
Yeah, he compromised her peace because she would
Yeah.
have been fine.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, that's arguable, because she was still having like flashbacks and stuff like that of that. Like, she still felt that need. At the same time, I was like, dude, what is this ending? And that,
Yeah.
so there was a couple of things that happened that were really jarring. It was Tommy coming back, not dead, with a gangster lean, saying, "Avenge my
I was
brother."
like,
Ellie going, "Okay, I'm just gonna leave my wife or girlfriend of many, many months, and my child, of a friend of mine who died, by the way, in front of me. I'm gonna leave that behind, And then after I leave that behind, I'm going to go get revenge for, at this point, someone else. It wasn't even really about her at that point, which was so strange. And then, this is why I felt the game, like, the last 2 or 3 hours felt chunky and bloated, because you show up, Abby's like, I'm going to go find the Fireflies. And then fucking Fat Geralt goes, BAM! Death fist her against the garage wall and shit. I'm like, oh. Like
I called him Evil Guy Fieri.
Evil Guy Fieri is good too. But Fat Geralt rolls through, beats the fuck out of him, and then goes, hey, we're in a prison camp where we turn people into infected and we make fun of them and it's fucked up. And I was like, this is a lot of plot that, like, you can't just shove in there that hard. Because in The Last of Us 1, that would have been a whole section of the game. Like, a large part of it.
So
they did Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
I think that there's a reason why they did this, though. You're supposed, and I think you're supposed to feel tired at the end of it. You're supposed to be like, man, I really just don't want to do this. Like when Ellie gets there and you're like, okay, you're going to have to go through the camp, you're going to have to kill the people. Like the whole point of it is to exhaust the player. I think that is the point. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we can talk about. But I think the whole point I think it's very intentional that they make it a whole nother section. And I think it's intentional that they don't talk about the history of this camp, of why Evil Guy Fieri or Evil Girl or Fat Geralt is there. Like, they're showing that this world is going to be this world regardless. And they're going to be fucked up people who do fucked up things. And that's just, that is the cycle of violence of this world.
You can prove.
I think that's very similar to, spoilers for Nier Automata. Brace for impact here. There's a part of Nier Automata where they go into like a really, really, really deep underground basement and they literally find aliens. But because the world, so much time has passed and so much has changed over the many years of them killing the robots that are trying to live their own lives from the Fortress of Lies. Great song, by the way. The aliens there, they don't even care. There's literal aliens from outer space in that level, and it's like, whatever. They're already dead. This is so past. It's so beyond you that you don't care. And the thing is, like, in that moment when I saw evil fucking Guy Fieri, Fat Geralt, fucking Death Fist, fucking Lev into the garage door, I was like, who the fuck is this? Why is he here? But the world is just like that. But that didn't, I was so mad playing it because I was like, dude, just stop.
Yeah.
You could have stopped. She could have just pulled up at the boat and then like fucking dunked her head in the water a few times and been like, listen, bitch.
That's not the point though, because you need Abby to
It's a
be
minor detail, Tom.
emaciated. You need Abby to be emaciated, to be weak, to be done, to not care anymore. You need that point. Because if Ellie had shown up when Abby was in fucking Super Saiyan mode,
Ellie would have gotten her
Ellie
face
got
pressed
murked.
into Gorilla Biscuits, bro. I saw that. I was like, there's no way Ellie would ever win that fight. Because if you watch brolic ass fucking... By the way, Abby's hot. I'm just saying it. I'm saying it. I think she's hot. She beats the shit out of everything with her bare hands. She doesn't even get a knife. By the way, I think that's bad world design. That was bad to me. Because I understand she's proficient with their fist fighting, right? But why didn't she ever take a knife with her? It's so important to have everything you need.
it is important to have a survival knife. Just in general.
And it's like, you know, she's like, can I get my usual? And it's like, here's a fucking dog. Okay, the dog's extra. Here's a dog. Here's a gun. It's a semi-auto rifle. That's pretty tight. Here's a pistol. Okay, we're in there. Doesn't bring a knife. Why wouldn't you bring a knife?
That's a misstep. Like, you're a trained soldier and you don't have a combat knife or survival knife like that. Seems a little
To
off.
me, I think that was like manipulative. That's like, hey,
that's
we
a
want you to
gameplay
feel like you get to play as Joel. You get to play as Joel here, because she's a really brolic female, or just a above average strong man.
There are points
She
that the
was
game
dunking
wants
on
to
them
drive
girls.
home that it's like, this is just a game. Let it be a game, right? Oh yeah, Abby doesn't take a knife because it's a game. You're killing fuck tons of dudes. He's looking right at you, but he's not reacting, even though he's fucking 5 feet in front of you, and you can just crawl behind the table, and he's just like, I didn't see nothing, because it's a game. But the emotions that it wants to invoke from you and the world that it establishes in the atmosphere of the game, the message of the game is like, it's real. So it's like, it's really disjointed what you want me to experience as a game, but in the story, you don't want any of it to be like aroused in fiction. You know, you want it to be very, very grounded, which is fine. You can have that world. You can obviously build a world where it's just, there are no happy endings because everybody's bad. Everyone's done fucked up shit. It's really arguable who's good and who's bad.
Those are my favorite endings in everything, by the way. I like
endings. Shit. I like endings that are open for discussion, right? I like endings where it's just like, what Joel did the right thing? Is Joel a good guy? Because I probably would have done it too. Killmonger made sense, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like shit like that.
Oh, he did.
Where Joel and Killmonger are two different stories.
No, I'm talking about audience receptions at the end of it. Where I think at the end, they're completely two different types of people and instances, but the conversation that it's had is about the same. But I felt like Last of Us 2 didn't have that outside of, okay, who are these? Like now we are probably gonna have a third game that explore those guys, the fucking the prison guys, you know. So I felt like. And also, the way that they really try to force the plot ahead is just like, oh, Tommy needs his revenge. All right, fine. Oh, Abby's got to weaken her a little bit. It's
think that
they really.
Dom, you brought up a point where you said you feel like Ellie's, like, her second run at going to kill Abby wasn't about her. I disagree. Because the whole point about the scene in the barn is that she is still trapped by Joel's death. She's not, she's present with Dina, but she is not there.
Yeah.
And that shows with what happens with you know, the barn, and then, you know, the fact that she can't sleep. She can't even talk about Joel.
Right.
Like, she is still trapped in that moment. She's been trapped in that moment now for a year plus. Mm-hmm. And so she had to leave because she is not even, it's the whole point of the song. Like I said, she's losing herself.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to talk through it with Dina, she decides to try to get revenge again. And in that, she loses everything.
Mm-hmm.
She loses everything. And
I agree.
Don't feel like
I agree in the sense that for this game to be complete, Ellie cannot walk. Yeah, you gotta have a menace to society ending here. You can't have her walk away with good because she's been nothing but bad. And the thing is, I think that there's a duality in that because the game has a hard time making Ellie look awful because, like me and Seph talked about this, you got the bitch trapped in the basement. She's breathing in spores. She's gonna die. Ellie needs information. She has no choice. She beats her with a pipe until she gives her the information. And it's
that's a horrible thing to do, though.
I know, and I agree. But if she lost that lead, she would have nothing and it would have stopped there. So it's like, so you're put in situations where Ellie is forced to do bad things. She has no choice. And the end of the game...
She always had a choice to leave.
She did. And that's the most important part. She could have left whenever she wanted. But if she wanted to complete what she set out to do, she had to do what she had to do. And I think that if she did all of those things and she succeeded, and she walked away with good, it would have been weak. But I also think that the game didn't do a good enough job specifically making you feel as though she was being good, because the manipulative thing is real.
You're not supposed to feel like she's being good.
But you're not supposed to feel like, the thing is, when you look at the two characters and the way that they're presented, you have to infer that what's her name, Abby, is bad through her history. You have to infer that. Whereas with
see her killing Joel in the beginning.
Correct, but that's her inexcusable action outside of that, she's.
I don't think it's excusable. I think it's understandable.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Yeah,
Like, it's still not excusable. She still murders someone.
Yeah, for
So-
sure. But I understand where Seph is coming from when he says Abby is left in a position where she can only really look good because Ellie is put in a position where she only really looks bad. But the thing is, at the same time, they want you to feel guilt because when Ellie kills the chick with the pipe in the basement with the spores, she goes back and she's shaking her hands and she's like, I can't handle what I just did. But you fucking did it.
Yeah.
So then you're bad.
Yeah.
But you don't feel good about it. But there's
No, you're not supposed to.
I know, but it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like you never have anything that shows outside of the relationship with Dina. You don't have a part in the game where Ellie seems good because all she's doing is bad. Whereas on the other hand, with Abby, you do explicitly see her doing good, and you have to infer that she's done bad through history. And I think that's a weaker element of the game, but I still don't completely.
What would be the goal of seeing of feeling like Ellie's doing good? And what would be the reward for that? Because my question, I asked that because all through Last of Us Part 1, Ellie is nothing but good, right? We see her as a good character. Moving into Last of Us Part 2 until Joel dies, we see Ellie as a good character. Right? She wants to be an artist. She wants to, enjoy her life. She wants to, find love. All the things that a young adult would do. What would be the point of feeling like she's doing good in this story? That's my question. Like, it would be nice, but to me, that's not the goal of the story.
And that I agree with, but I think it's important to people who maybe don't think about things as hard, because that's something that I wanted to bring up, is that the general community dislikes Abby so much that they would walk away from the game entirely before they even finished it because they had to play as her. I think that really sucks. Because
I would say that The Last of Us Part 2 is not for you.
Yeah. It sucks that like they feel that that's the only way that they can get that out. But I think it's super weak because the story is really good, but there you do need to soften the blow of Ellie being strictly villainous to an extent. And I don't think Dina does a good enough job. And the purpose of softening that blow is to create the duality between the two characters. Because otherwise you see character foils. You don't see parallels. You see foils.
I think you're supposed to see foils.
I think there's an extent of... You're supposed to see some level of sympathy for Ellie. And
you have that.
And it feels more forced than Abby.
So this is why I'll say that I wouldn't pay $60 for this game, is because Dan, you make it very clear over and over. You're supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to do this. The artists and the writers of the game, they really drove the point home on what they want you to feel and what they want you. The emotions that they're trying to invoke from the audience is definitely done.
It works. Yes.
It works. It works. The way that they are trying to do it, it works. But to say that The Last of Us Part 2 isn't for you is like, it's like saying like you can't understand this form of art.
Yeah, but I mean, it comes off as...
The thing is, art is interpreted and experienced in many different ways. And even though the purpose is to incite negative emotion, because like Dom is saying, there's no real point throughout this game that you can feel good outside of Dina and outside of Lev. Those are the two good people. They're the good devices for this game that allow the player, the characters that are seemingly unjustifiably bad, or like there's no salvation for them. The crimes there's no atonement for them, despite how actively they try to seek it. Those are the devices for their atonement, right? The game and the story is trying to say there's no good here. Like, these characters are good, but for your main characters, there's no good for them. It's supposed to make you feel tired at the end. It's supposed to make you feel like lacking. It's supposed to make you feel as though there is no closure, there's no completion, and this is the way that the world works. That this is the way that like revenge and anger works, right? There's no positive side to it. The game does a great job at telling that story. And yes, Last of Us 2, by your explanation, Dan, by saying that Last of Us 2 is likely just not for you because you couldn't experience it in the way that the writers want to.
I didn't know. Well, you added that part. Because I didn't
okay.
say it wasn't for you because you can't experience it. I'm saying if that part of the if playing as Abby and trying to see that flip is something that you have to walk away from, then perhaps the way that this story is told isn't for you. Meaning it isn't
Right.
something that you're going to be able. Not that you can't understand it. I think they very much understand it, and the reason they walk away is because that to them isn't a story that they want to intake. That they
Yeah,
want to
like
eat.
okay, so
Right.
I'm gonna rip that. I'm gonna make it real simple, because the argument most of the time, for most people that I've read over the last week of reading very negative reviews, almost explicitly, and watching very few positive reviews, despite the fact that I love the game, they don't care about Abby. They straight up don't care about Abby, Mel, Owen, fucking.
I didn't like Mel, but go
I
on.
didn't like Mel either. They didn't care about her entire cast.
Did you like Owen?
I actually,
Huh?
Dan, did you like Owen?
I thought Owen, I loved Owen. I thought
Wait.
Owen was a flawed character, but he was important. He was a flawed character. He slept with Abby after they broke up, and he was with Mel. I mean, he was a messed up dude.
but he was trying to bring good. He was the reason good was
Yes.
introduced to Abby, because without it, she would have continued to be that person.
just a seraphied lawnmower. Like because remember, she
pretty
was
good.
agreeing, like Dom said, she was agreeing to kill the Seraphites after she had gotten her revenge.
Yeah.
She was just like, yo, I got my revenge.
She's
now I'm
like,
just
I
gonna
got
mow
my
them down."
piece out of what they asked of me,
Yeah.
and I don't care anymore. I don't
Right.
care. Now I don't care. I got what I wanted. You can have me for whatever you like. It's like Marines when they get married. When they get married and they have one kid in the Marine Corps, and they're like, we're going to give you a house. Have you ever lived in a house before, son? And it's like, no. And they go, we'll see you for the next 20 years, bitch. Good luck without us. It's the same thing. That's her life. That's the life she's become accustomed
She's a soldier,
to.
yeah.
She's a soldier now. She has nothing else. So because of that, I think she chooses not to leave. But then Owen says, I don't want to do this anymore. And he kills one of his allies. And then he goes to the aquarium. I fucks with aquarium, by the way.
Yep.
Aquarium was tight.
He goes to the aquarium and he says, I'm going to stay here because I'm done being bad. I'm done being an awful person. I want to start my new life and I'm going to leave as soon as possible. And he tries to do that. But if he had never done that, Abby would have just been a piece of shit forever. So I liked Owen.
Right.
Yep.
I liked Owen.
Yeah,
I
did
didn't
like Owen.
I didn't like Mel, but that's because Abby didn't like Mel. And then even even as she started to come around to her, I was like, Mel sucks. But she has a really good moment where all she says is, you're a piece of shit, Abby. Because she realizes what happened. And then you see that Abby she doesn't know what to say. Because she's never been in a position where she can't get out of it by just being brolic as fuck. I thought that was a super good moment. She's like, I'm so used to just being aggressive and dumb about everything that you telling me and forcing me to accept the fact that me fucking your boyfriend/husband, whatever, makes me a bad person, even though I'm trying to change. I thought it was really good that she had that moment where she's like, what the fuck? What's wrong with you? And she's like, I don't know what to tell you. And after she left, she like started throwing shit because that's all she knows.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. I think that the side characters are different than The Last of Us 1. Because in The Last of Us 1, those side characters had depth in a different way. Whereas the side characters in this game pull depth out of the other character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most important side character in Last of Us 1 was probably Marlene, right? Like, arguably.
Yeah.
Outside of like Tommy, but Tommy was kind of like,
He was there and gone
like, he
in the
was
first
there,
game.
but whatever. But I, like I said, just to clarify, when I say the story isn't for you, I mean that in the same way as like you might not necessarily like every type of salad there is in the world. This salad might not be for you. And that's what I'm saying. Not that you can't understand it. It's just that this isn't the type of thing that you are either at the point in your life or you don't want to intake.
I
And
think
that's okay.
I think that it's really important to understand going into this game that it sounds like super pretentious, right? Like, no matter how you phrase it's not for you, it sucks. It sucks the way that you have to say it. You have to sound pretentious, but when something isn't for you because you don't want to understand it or you don't understand it, there's no other way for me to say that respectfully. It's like if you can't remove yourself from the equation, because ultimately this game isn't about, as I said before in the beginning, it's not about you. You have to remove what you want out. And only then can you get what they're giving you. And what they gave me, I liked. The second that I pulled that away, where I was like, this is what I want out of it, as opposed to this is what I got, I enjoyed it way more. Especially transitioning to Abby.
The moment that I understood, like the moment that I had to do that was actually in Last of Us Part 1. When Joel decided, I'm going to murder everybody up in this hospital until I get to Ellie, I didn't want to do that. I was like, Joel, why are we doing this? Like, this feels bad.
Yeah.
But to finish the game, you have to do that.
You have to at least kill the doctor. You don't have to kill the nurses.
I'm not super good at the stealth. Like at that point, I wasn't really good at playing Last of Us. So
I mean when you get into the door and the doctor's like, you can't come in here, and he grabs the scalpel and he's like, get the fuck out. We gotta save humanity. And Joel's like, sorry, bro, and he caps him. You can just kill him. You don't have to kill the nurses.
True. Yeah. You don't have to kill them, but it's implied that he did.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. The story kind of directs itself as though he kills everybody.
Yeah. The canon ending is that he kills everyone. My thing is that, like, people are so up their own ass about the first game that I told you about this, the podcast, the 4 people, the 2 people that hate it, 2 people that didn't like it. There was a woman on that podcast that said, I didn't kill the doctor in the first game. That's how up her own ass she is.
I feel like the fact that she's a woman is irrelevant, but...
Well, I don't know her name, but so there was Alana Pierce, and there were 2 guys that I did know their names, and I know.
Just on the record, Dom is terrible with names, so he often refers to the generalization. This isn't a commentary on a person's gender.
Dude, I have no problem with women reviewing video games. I'm watching an Alana Pierce video in the first place.
I have a woman friend.
Yeah, I do. I have women friends, but like, it's not like my opinion is swayed by the fact that she is a woman that she is a guy. I know you guys are giving me a hard time, but I do want to make that clear. But I was on that channel and I was listening to her, and she's like, oh, I didn't kill the doctor, and that's how up her own ass she was. That she is so involved in pulling the first one into the second one that she refused to see the lack of letting them control your decisions in the first game. As I said, it's not about
the point of Last of Us, both 1 and 2, is not interactivity in your decision-making process. That's not the type of game that it is. And like I said, I realized that once Joel went on the hospital killing spree. Because it's like, I didn't want to shoot the doctor.
Yeah, Indestructible starts playing. You're listening to Disturbed in like the early 2000s, like and he's just fucking capping everybody.
The thing is, the game can direct itself as like, no, you have to do these bad things, and that's fine. Like, as a player, you can understand, like, this is the game that I'm playing. I may not enjoy. Spec Ops: The Line, you do
Yep.
fucked up stuff the
All the way
whole the whole way through, but it still has like that the way that story's telling. Like you obviously understand that what you're doing is fucked up. You understand what you're doing is wrong. Whereas The Last of Us, it's like it's so polarizing the way that Razfrest says it in the chat. It's really polarizing how everybody in The Last of Us 1, despite the fact that you have the illusion of choice or not, Last of Us 1 is generally accepted as a good experience, a good product, despite what ending you may have, how you may have interpreted the ending. It's still a good sum of all parts. Whereas Last of Us 2, it's like it's bits and pieces that you pick out and you enjoy and that you interpret positively or you interact with negatively. So, Dan, I understand your point further, more concretely now when you say that it's not for you. Emotionally, obviously, I was invoked to say like, oh, then obviously we all experience art in different ways, right? That's the point of art. And the point that the artist tried to drive home where it's not a happy story. It's about revenge. It's about anger. This is a very anger-focused story. And I think that by saying The Last of Us 2 is not for you is by saying that if you're not comfortable with really soaking in those emotions and soaking in that type of story, you're not going to have a good time because that's the story. That's the story that it's trying to tell.
Yeah,
the story that Last of Us 2 is trying to tell, it like Dan and I said, it really does a good job. That's the story that they wanted to tell, and that's exactly what is delivered. Whether it's structured, whether you talk about how it's organized properly or not, that's what they wanted to deliver, and they delivered it, hands down, for sure. But I didn't enjoy that. I understand
that's a fair assessment.
but I don't like an angry story. I didn't enjoy that. I can't say that they didn't do a good job though, So
yeah, I think that, and to me, if someone says, you know what, I don't like Last of Us 2 because I don't like the direction they took the characters. I don't enjoy the theme of the story. What else can I say? But okay, that's fine. That is completely acceptable.
Yeah, it's like, and that's such a hard thing about it, right? Because this is a video game. This is a video game. There are two halves to every story. And an important element of that is realizing that it's not just the story that makes a game. And I think that the game holds itself up on its own. It's a very strong game. Even on the normal difficulty, I was like getting my ass beat from time to time. I was like, damn, this is kind of tough. But that's because I'm an idiot gorilla. Now, on the other hand, if you're like, I watched like Cosmonaut Variety Hour and like Marcus played it and he said this game is the best on its highest difficulty. But the game is good. Is basically what you'll get from it. You play this game, if you have a controller in your hands, you will walk away feeling like this is a good game. That's it. Like I there's nothing else I can say, and the story is so polarizing. But that's because ultimately it didn't deliver what everybody wanted. The hard part about that is that people didn't exactly get what they wanted out of the first game either. And yet they still walked away feeling as though they enjoyed it. And I think that's what makes it so difficult because, like, there's a reason why people are upset. There's a reason why people dislike this game. But I just don't agree with them.
But this is the thing. At the end of Last of Us 2, at the end of Last of Us Part 1, right? You go through, you murk the hospital, you get Ellie back, you still saved a character you care about. Mm-hmm. In Last of Us 2, you haven't saved anyone. You haven't saved anyone. You can arguably say you saved Lev, right?
Yeah.
But
you did.
You don't spend that much time with Lev, right? So, like, you don't save anyone in Last of Us 2. Last of Us 2 is about loss.
Last of Us.
In reconciliation with that loss. Before we go, because I know we got to go in a little bit, the ending of the game is so important to me because I think that the scene that Ellie has when she's talking to Joel, and she says, you know what, Joel, you're a fucking asshole. It was my I should have died because then I feel like my life would mean something.
Right.
And then she says, I don't know because she knows that Joel loves her. She knows that. Like, that has been shown through the flashbacks. The audience knows that. She sees that Joel cares for her like a good father would for his daughter. She sees that. You know, she sees that he's okay with her choice of sexuality. He wants her to be happy. He is proud of her. And she says, "You know what, Joel? I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't even think I can. But I want to try." And the fact that she flashes back to that at the end and then starts to walk off, to me in my mind, I don't know what the intention is, but to me in my mind, that's saying she's going to try to find Dina to see if she can have that same opportunity. That's the ending to me in my mind.
And that's an important part about that end to me specifically, is that Abby loses everything except a new life that she started with someone else. She has to start something completely different because what she had, she destroyed. It's gone. Ellie does walk away from this story with the chance of reconciling things with someone that she loves and continuing the life that she had that was already good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the real loser, there is no real loser. You know? Ellie has a chance. So does
It's difficult to interpret the story by saying it's Abby versus Ellie, even through the end. Like, obviously, the whole story is laid out as like, yes, this is an Abby versus Ellie. Like, who is the good one? Who's the bad one? But really, like you said, there is no good one. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both bad.
They're both bad.
In every way, almost. But they're, you know, they lose. They both. There is no winner. You know, because of the paths that they took.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that there's. I never put it in my mind that this was a versus story. I didn't, because by the time we get to Abby, Ellie has killed an innocent. Ellie has killed an innocent person in that child, right? That Mel was pregnant.
Mhm.
That child smoked,
Mhm.
and it was completely innocent, right?
Mhm.
So Ellie and Abby to me are like, it was never like, which one do I like more, right? It was like, okay, game, I really don't care about Abby, but what do you have? I immediately had to do the same thing I did with Joel in part one and say, you know what? Nope, yoink. I'm going to pull myself out of this and try to experience what the writers are. I considered, and it helped for me because I was watching it, right? It helped me to do that because I wasn't in control. So to
Yeah.
me, it was more like a movie. So I treated it like a movie, and I understand that some people who game don't want games to be like movies, and that to me is also another reason why I do understand if people are like, you know what, this sucks, I don't want to do this,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Obviously, for assessing any situation, the optimal thing to do is to take yourself out of the equation. But just like you said, exactly like you just said, it's very different when the medium of a storytelling in a game is very different from a movie.
Yes.
Because a movie, obviously, they both do the same thing where they can write a character that a person can connect with. But when you are interacting and playing as that character, the connection goes far deeper because you were deliberately controlling those actions.
That's the whole
So
point, right? That's part of the appeal.
The easiest way, yeah, like you and I were able to do, to remove ourselves from the equation and be able to experience and criticize the game at its rawest extent. And obviously experts who play the game, or reviewers and critics who are able to do so despite playing the game, like you can understand that the artist intent was still met despite all of the remorse that you may feel for Joel, all of the anger that you'll feel for Abby. At the end of the day, it's a very level playing field across the board. There's no person that's better than the other. You know?
I think that that's the point, because to me, I'm no lie, the scene with Joel and Ellie, where she told him like, I don't know if I can forgive you, but I'm that hit me, dude. I was like,
that hurt.
Man, they were starting to reconcile with one another.
Yeah.
Joel was finally starting to get all of the redemption and all of the restore to humanity that Joel thought he was going to get or tried to get in Last of Us Part 1 was shattered once Ellie found out what he did. He felt like a horrible person again.
you also feel like throughout the entire game, you feel like she knows. You know, even at the end of the first game, you feel
At the end of the
for
first
sure.
game, she gives the exasperated.
yeah, yeah,
Okay,
because
she knew.
she feels defeated by her being alive. Like Dan said, her whole thing was she wanted her life to have meaning. She wanted her death to have meaning, and Joel robbed her of that, and she has to continue living thinking that there's nobody like her. So you think that she knows the whole time, and that's what makes every bit of their connection, all of the flashbacks, all the nice things that Joel's doing to her and saying to her, and even the ways that he lies to her, everything is so bittersweet because you see Joel trying to be better, but you know that you think that Ellie knows, and Ellie's rejecting it. So even at the end, where she gives the hard rejection, but then she's like, "But I can try." It's just like, oh, there's hope after all, you know?
Yeah.
And then she walks off. So you think, yes, I didn't interpret the ending where she walks off that way. I didn't interpret as she could be trying to repair what she had with Dina.
I think that was the point. That was the whole point.
Yeah, I didn't interpret it that way.
That's
So-
to me. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, you know, the Neil Druckmann could be like, "Hey, you know,
Psych.
that's not what I meant."
Screen.
she
I-
as
you
soon
know,
as
that's-
the screen cuts to black, she gets smoked. Like, I don't know what happened. You know, like you never know.
I would
Yeah.
say that, you know, I'm going to stay away from his own opinion about it for very specific reasons. I don't want him to fuck it up. You know? It's
No.
like, to me,
Fuck the drug.
like, you know, well, I have no opinion on him as a person because I don't know. And I personally don't want to go, oh, fuck Neil Druckmann, because I don't know what everybody's complaining about. I've
I
seen
just don't like what he put his developers through. You know what I'm saying?
No one likes that. Oh my god, dude. Hold up.
We
Hold
got
up.
to look. We got to.
We
wrap it
got
up.
we
No,
gotta
we'll wrap it up.
we gotta go.
That's the unanimous bad thing. Crunch is bad.
Crunch is bad everywhere.
Overall, Crunch is bad.
terrible. Crunch is terrible. So,
Pay your
like,
game devs more.
Crunch is bad. Pay your game
Crunch is
devs
bad.
more, and also understand that
Respect women.
despite the fact that those things are true, that is the culture that they are living in, and they have to change it. And then for them to, it bothered me specifically when people are like, yeah, fuck this dude because of that, because I feel like they're coming at him super hard because it's a AAA game. And it's something that's in everybody's face. And they're like, yeah, fuck Neil Druckmann. But if you went into any other games industry that was a little bit smaller, let's call it a fucking single A developer or a double A developer, smaller developer, and they're doing the same fucking practices, they would not do what they did this whole cycle. But that's not why we're here. I'm saying at the end of all of this, that despite all of the weaknesses that I had narratively with the game, there were many, I think that the game did a good job doing just this. We got to sit down and have a really good conversation for this reason. Yo,
To sum it all up, did your score change? Dan, does your score change after all the discussion?
my score. I don't think my score changed. No, because I feel like the criticisms of the game, now that I've heard them, and the ones that I feel like are like, okay, yes, I understand, is more of the like, this is my take on the experience of the game and what I don't like about it. And there's nothing for me to say you're wrong, right? Because it's the way you experience it. Someone can eat two different people can eat the same salad, and one could love it and one could hate it, right?
Yeah.
Neither one of them is wrong.
yeah, coleslaw's fucking
So-
whack.
So my
salad.
score did not change.
My score changed. I'd give it a still a personal 7, but an objective 8 or 9.
Okay.
The game did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
The artists delivered what they were trying to write and deliver. So
And
I can't.
ultimately, I think this is probably the most discussed video game I've had. In recent memory, this is the most talked about game I've played in a long time.
There's still way more I could talk about the game, but we do have to go. I do want to thank. It's not my show. It's Ham's show.
Yeah, fucking. I'm gonna catch you guys out of here. We're doing an informal. Get the fuck out. Get out. Check out the YouTube. This is gonna be on YouTube. It's Ham Hub. The name of the channel is Ham Hub. I will put the link in the chat yet again. Boom. And you can, if you missed any part of this discussion, because I saw that a lot of people spiked in at the end. If you missed that conversation, then you can check it out there. I'll try to upload it by today. Later today, if the export goes over well. If not, then I have it, recorded on my computer here now. So Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Seph. Thank you, Dan.
Of course.
Thank you,
KI is-
Rally.
Yep.
Thank you. Whatever you were eating back there looked fire. Who's hosting KI this week? You misspelled week, but it's okay. I got you. It's gonna be Low Kick Esports. That's basically that's it. So I'll check you guys later. I'm not gonna use the outro because every time I do it, my YouTube videos get DMCA'd. So I'll check ya later.
All right, peace out, y'all.
Boom.